Welcome to the Navigating Dental Insurance Podcast, where we don't take from insurance companies. Here are your hosts, Mr. Jordan Comstock and Mr. Ben Duine. This podcast is sponsored by BoomCloud Dental Membership Software, www.boomcloudapps.com, and Veritas Dental Resources, www.veritasdentalresources.com. Enjoy the show.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Navigating Dental Insurance Podcast. I am your co-host today, Jordan Comstock. With me, as usual, Mr. Ben. What is up, dog?
What's up, Jordan? What's up, everybody? It's great to be back. We're relaunching the Say No to PPOs, and couldn't be any happier to kick this back off the ground.
Yeah, baby. This is gonna be fun.
We're back.
Yes. New seasons, new episodes coming your way. We're excited to be doing this podcast once again. Ben, always fun hanging out with you, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. Love talking about all things insurance and all things membership plans.
Yeah, absolutely. Today, the episode title is Combating the Bureaucratic Empire of Dental Insurance. One of my favorite titles, Ben. I've been thinking, me and Ben had a call with Dr. Mark Costes yesterday. We were talking on how complicated it is to make a buck in dentistry.
Oh, yeah.
So today we want to dedicate this podcast on making that easier for practice owners and office managers, and then discuss our live event that we're going to be doing at the end. So Ben, I got a question for you. What are ways, from your perspective, to help combat the bureaucratic empire of dental insurance?
You know, it's dealing with insurance, as everybody knows, is not the funnest thing. It's not the easiest thing, and we put way too much trust in what the insurance companies say.
Yes.
So that's
Too much.
rule number one is you always have to remember that the insurance companies are not on your side. You are not within their scope of who they are responsible for. You're not one of them. So it's funny when I get calls from clients and they say, I called this insurance carrier and they told me this. And my immediate impression was, and you believe that? Or my first question was, and you believed it? And they said, well, yeah, that's what they told me. It's like, come on. Well, that's problem number one in dentistry when it comes to insurance is we put too much trust in the insurance industry that they have no fiduciary responsibility over dentists. You know, their primary fiduciary is the patient, right? And so
investors probably.
Yeah. When you look at the at shareholders,
shareholders.
That's their number one are the shareholders.
Legally, by law.
Yeah. They make it look like the patients are their number one, but at the end of the day, the job of the insurance company is to deny.
Yeah.
Pay the least amount of claims. So don't trust anything that they say. And
Why
you
do
might
you
have
think,
yeah.
Ben, why do you think they deny so much?
Well, it's a model that's designed to earn dividends for investors and shareholders.
Sure.
It's not a model to provide care for the public, or at least dental insurance. And I may get sued by that statement, but to the insurance industry, show me that I'm wrong. Show me that your focus is number one patient care, right?
Yeah.
And that includes compensation for the providers, the doctors that are performing
Part of patient care.
Yeah. And they're the ones that are ignored the most, you know, when it comes to the dynamics of insurance patients and providers and dentists or doctors, right?
Yeah.
The doctors are the ones that are ignored the most, you know? And so it's, you know, so it's a business model. It's not necessarily one that's honorable in the sense that, yeah, we're going to create insurance to take care of people, take care of the public, get people healthier. No. It's more so the numbers work for us to have a really good model for investors. So let's make the numbers look good on Wall Street. And all the while we're neglecting what the patients need and what the doctors need to get people help. You know, so it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah, it is a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
So it's hard to make money because of insurance. Complicated. Number one, we shouldn't trust everything an insurance company say. So think due diligence. Whatever they say or do some of your own due diligence.
Oh yeah,
on behalf of yourself. Yeah.
A good example is years ago we had you remember Melissa Dunham?
Yes.
She came out to several of our meetings or events.
Yes. What is she doing these days?
not sure. I'm gonna reach out to her. It's been a long
Yeah.
time. But interestingly, she had a fight with United Concordia because United Concordia was making a determination on EOBs, explanation of benefit statements, that were against their own policies. And so Melissa pointed that out to United Concordia and said, hey, on these buildups, it indicates that all you need is X, X, and X in order to unbundle the buildup from the crowns. And United Concordia said, well, no, our policies say X. And she's like, no, she sent them a copy of their policy saying, this is what you sent me as your policy. And you know what United Concordia did?
What?
The next day, they edited that policy on the bill.
Jeez.
They changed
Not
it.
anymore. We're changing.
Yeah. And so that's what I mean by you don't trust them, because they can have a policy all they want. But at the end of the day, the American Dental Association owns the CDT guidelines. So when insurance carriers write policies that go against the CDT guidelines, then, at that point, there should be a dispute with the ADA saying, hey, you're leasing this to, the CDT to United Concordia, and they're changing the definitions, which they're not allowed to do, right?
Yeah.
But insurance companies know that most dentists don't know that that's the dynamic of the CDT, that it's owned by the ADA, and insurance carriers agree to abide by it. But they change the CDT definitions for their own benefit all the time, the insurance industry, that is. So that example with Melissa kind of opened the door for me to dive into it further. And holy smokes, have I found all kinds of unnecessary
write-offs,
denials. Yeah, write-offs for dental practices. They're not getting paid. And you know what the average is? So we've been mining this data among our own clients. Do you know how, like, for a single doctor, single location, this number might be too good to be true, but the numbers are the numbers. You know what the average write-off is? Like, unnecessary write-off or unnecessary loss of income when you're dealing with insurance annually is $300,000.
Oh, every year, 300,000
every year for a single practice. Yeah.
Let's do some math on that, because I've written some articles on this too, because it really bothers me. So the average write-off is $300,000 a year. The average dentist, I looked it up, practices for about 40 years. So that is $12 million of write-offs over your career in dentistry. What could you do with that type of revenue that comes to you, right?
Oh man,
you can retire really well with that, or you can reinvest into a bigger, better practice, right? That generates more revenue, and sell the practice and retire that way too, right? I look at this a lot like, holy smokes, there's so much revenue wasted and written off in the dental industry when it could be helping the practice owners and their team members and their patients. It just disappears. It's the invisible cost of dentistry.
Oh yeah, that big write-off. And a lot of the write-off is undetected. That's the sad thing about when you're dealing with insurance, is you don't know when they're making a mistake. And so, and then there's so much other things that
really bothers me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I'm a big fan of, like, just doing a cash fee, or excuse me, membership plan, for your cash patients, getting uninsured patients to switch over. That's a trend in the industry these days, where people don't want to do business with insurance, right? Dentists don't want to participate with insurance.
Well, it's funny. It's funny, Ben. I've been at this for a while, right? In the dental space, and so have you. I recently went to New York and to an optometry conference, because we've organically at Boom Cloud help optometrists, because it's the same problem over there. And it's so sad to see these business owners, these entrepreneurs, right, that are in optometry and dental struggle so much with insurance. It's like, holy smokes, this has been a big struggle, a big pain point for a while. What are you going to do about it? You're just going to take it and write off the $12 million in your lifetime or career? It's kind of crazy.
I know. It's interesting diving into other subsets of medicine. It's like, holy smokes, the problems there are the same, but they're worse. Dentistry has it better put together than
dentistry does have it better compared to optometry. It's wild.
I know. And still, we're still lagging behind in terms of what we should know about capturing all the revenue that you're entitled to as a participating provider of insurance. It's a tough world, but
totally.
I'd say I mean, so the part that I learned, Jordan, with that 300,000 is
Yes.
most dentists don't even know. Like you could have the best billers, but the dynamics of the dental practice
Mm,
where you have so many people wearing so many different hats, right?
sure.
And sometimes it's hard to detect when you're being, well, when you're writing off something that shouldn't be written off. It's hard to know because we put too much trust in what the EOB says, right?
Yeah.
Thinking that, okay, that's the law, that's the final word. No, it's not.
Mm,
You know, American Medical Association, they discovered that 19.3% of claims have errors on them, meaning the insurance
goodness.
carrier processed them incorrectly.
Yeah.
But when I look at dental, so I'm no, I mean, the process in which you can establish those findings as a legitimate study, we're not there yet because that has
Hmm.
to be done with multiple organizations, right? Competitors, we all
Sure.
study it, but I've invited the competitors to study the same numbers. So in dentistry, the claims error that I've detected is almost pushing 40%. For some
Goodness.
practices, it's more than that. And you got to ask yourself, Jordan, are they really errors or are they intentional by the
Yeah.
insurance
Are they
company?
like, yeah, we'll throw it in there,
Yeah.
see if they're paying attention.
It's like, oh, it was an honest
Sweet, they're
mistake. It's like
not.
bull crap. Like
Yeah.
there's a pattern of you doing this like since the history of time, you
Goodness.
know? So that's the big battle, you know, when you ask that question, how to what things to focus on. Number one is don't trust them. Don't trust
Yeah.
the insurance companies. You
And do
trust
your own
if you want to trust, you trust but verify.
trust,
You
but
know?
verify, do your due diligence. Yeah.
Yeah.
What other ways a practice could combat these issues that you're seeing? The
I I
overriding off too much revenue.
Yeah, so to me, I'm a big fan of the whole part of the sort of navigating out of insurance if you can,
Mhm.
slowly replacing,
Strategically.
yeah, strategically, which you know we talk about that quite a bit on this podcast and with the other podcasts that we do. You know, the biggest part of that is that what we've been seeing so far is patients are staying with their dentists, you know, unless they don't have any
Yeah.
out-of-network benefits. That's where a
Sure.
membership plan would be perfect, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Where we do see this a lot, like a lot of Medicare programs, senior citizens. And I know that you talk about this quite a bit, Jordan, where how many people are retiring like every month where they're leaving their PPO plan
I believe it's like last I heard, um, I think it was like 10 million
a month?
leaving a PPO plan because they're retiring fit like they're they're uh they're not getting their corporate benefits, right? So a lot of like seniors and senior sounds so weird to say when you're like 55 and up. Let's just say people are at that age need more dental care. And I saw this when I worked at the dental lab. That was just a lot of our clients. It was just patients that were 55 and older, roughly. That came in from dental offices, and often they lose their insurance benefits because they're retiring or they're self-employed
Mhm.
and retiring as well, and aren't really paying for dental insurance, at that stage of their life, and they need more care.
Mhm.
And the dental insurance really doesn't do much for them for the care they need. I think if you need an implant, I don't think you can even get that covered through insurance,
Yeah, maybe
right?
one or half of one.
Half of one, yeah. So, and a lot of patients need more restorative work at that age. So, that's kind of the stats that I've heard is about 10 million
10
retiring.
million.
And then in 2020, it accelerated like crazy.
Oh
I
yeah.
think 20, I think 24 to 30 million people retired earlier than planned on top of
Mhm.
what was,
Mhm.
the average.
Yep.
So the opportunity, to help those patients just grew quite a bit because of they're not getting insurance, right?
Yep.
Some of them do, obviously,
So that
but
makes perfect sense because what we've seen among the retirees is that the Medicare plans in dental have exploded. They've really skyrocketed since 2020.
interesting.
And I haven't been able to really put my thumb on it other than the fact that, oh, more and more dental plans are creating their Medicare Advantage programs for senior citizens.
Hmm.
And consequently, we're seeing more senior citizens on Medicare Advantage plans, which to me is a big opportunity loss for dentists.
Yeah, does
Because
it cover much?
no, I mean, you're paying like 35
Almost
to
worse.
55 a month for a $1,500 or a $1,000 annual maximum.
Yeah, so it's the
And
same.
when
It's kind of the same.
when you do the math on that, that's a fully insured plan. So for those of you that see a lot of Medicare patients, this is one of the reasons I'm going to do a pitch on for membership plans here in a second, mainly because
Thanks, Ben.
so this is what I've been seeing is Delta, Humana, United Healthcare, like almost every one of them, Aetna, Cigna, have created Medicare Advantage plans, a lot of which have started around 2020, 2021.
Mhm.
And what you're seeing is a lot of retirees leaving the PPO space
Yeah.
and going straight to the Medicare space, which is basically the PPO and dental.
Sure.
And the loss ratios, so the percentage of what Medicare patients pay, because it's pretty much considered sort of a fully insured plan, right? It's not a group plan. You're fully insuring that. So out of that, the funds that they pay, for every dollar they pay for a Medicare dental plan,
Mhm.
between 40 and 60 cents actually go towards the benefits. So the question becomes,
Why
is
don't you
that an
just fund it
efficient-
yourself? Yeah.
Yeah, is that an efficient way to manage your dental care? Is to
No.
pay a third party 40 to 60 cents on the dollar to manage your benefits, rather than you should have 100% go to the dentist by doing their membership plan, right? So if
Yeah.
you're a dentist and you do see a lot of senior citizens, I highly recommend the development of a membership plan, because that 40 to 60% that you're not seeing, and plus a lot of that the patient doesn't have to pay, you could recapture a lot of that and have the membership fee for the patient be less than
Oh,
what you're
yeah.
paying on the Medicare side of things, and they'll get more dentistry out of it, right?
Yeah, it goes directly to the patient. There's no fluff, right?
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
unless the patient doesn't use it, which that's their choice. But when I think about this model, especially with the baby boomer population, you know, retiring more and more, it's a massive generation. And they still need dental care, need help. I think when I do the research, I do a lot of internet marketing research, and I find that there's literally hundreds of thousands of people every month, and I haven't even gone through all the keywords that people are searching for, that are searching for a dentist that takes that works with patients without insurance.
Mhm.
It's wild to me. And we've built on BoomCloud, we've built the dental marketplace to start to capture all those patients, searching and funnel them through to our practices at BoomCloud that have membership plans, right? We're trying to capture it for our practices because we can do nationwide marketing. We're really great at it online. And it's fascinating how many people are searching for, you know, dentists that will help them without insurance, right?
Mhm.
And another thing I'm thinking, Ben, like you and I and Mark talked last night on this, it's really bothering me. The amount of it costs money to acquire new patients. We all know this. You have to do marketing and you have to convince the patient to work with your practice, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So marketing and sales in the traditional business model. So there's a cost to acquire patients. And then what's really bothering me is the cost to maintain the patient and to the cost to continue to acquire new revenue from when those patients, meaning the admin costs to work with insurance. It kind of bothers me because typically how great business models work is you pay the cost to acquire through your marketing and sales teams. And then you may have like in BoomCloud, for example, we have a support team, but that doesn't cost me any new money to generate revenue. You know, our subscription from our software, it doesn't cost me new money. It's just it's a static cost. Where in dental, it's a dynamic cost that every time a new patient comes in, there's a cost to acquire that new revenue from that patient. It really bothers me, meaning your customer acquisition costs is never relieved over a period of time, right? And that really bothers me because of what insurance does to practice owners. And if you're a practice owner, if you think the way I'm thinking here, you would be really bothered too, because that's not how it should work. You should be able to acquire patients and not have these new costs to, you know, generate that revenue and make sure you get paid and make sure you're not getting tricked by the insurance companies, you know, or it's kind of wild to me. So yeah, I think one of my ways to combat is two things. You've got to turn on a marketing engine that actually produces new patients. I'm a marketing guy. I love marketing. It's all I do here with my marketing team at Boom Cloud. So you need good marketing, period. And all marketing is education and content to inspire the patient to work with you.
Yeah,
That's all it is. It's pretty simple.
absolutely. No, I love that. I think that's huge there. All those things that you mentioned. You know, the
Yeah,
last thing that sort of comes to my mind, Jordan, on
yeah.
that question that you sort of theme for this episode is, you know, we've been sort of beat up on this whole concept of wage inflation, right?
There's that too.
And
There's a lot of inflation in dentistry. Yeah.
oh yeah, every industry, dentistry in particular, has been hit very hard.
Yeah.
And the number one struggle that I've been hearing across the country in terms of dental practices is the inability to find qualified people.
Mm-hmm.
To
Sure.
me, it's more so the inability to offer a wage that is in the criteria of what people are looking for, right? Which is very
Yes.
high and very uncomfortable. A good example is hygiene. So hygienists, the wages, a lot of times when you stack that up against a typical hygiene visit, you're either breaking even or losing money, right?
Sure.
And to me, it's a mistake simply because when you look at hygiene, the number one thing that's missing with hygiene is the coding side of things.
Sure.
I've been to so many hygiene lectures, and you know that whole dynamic of understanding patient interaction, you know, the clinical components, especially with periodontal protocols.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that's really missing with hygiene is coding, is the interaction and
Are
pairing
they
of
just not
treatment.
doing coding?
They're not doing it properly in
Okay.
majority of practices.
Fascinating.
So a good example is, you know, some hygienists on a daily basis would make anywhere between $600 to $1,000 in revenue for the practice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's under the limitations of a PPO plan, right? Where some hygienists make $300 to $500 an hour because of the fee limitations when you're in network with insurance. But when you look at it correct, like when you're actually billing correctly on the hygiene side of things, it's not uncommon to see hygienists produce 2,500 to 5,000. 5,000 is sort of on the anomaly higher end. For somebody might be listening and say, no, that's our norm. Well, you're doing better than most.
Yeah, you're above the average. Yeah.
But you know, the hygiene production on a daily basis doesn't always have to be limited by the contractual limitations of insurance and fees. It's
Okay.
more so how you're coding and how you're communicating and conveying with patients
Sure.
that really allows you to produce at that 2,500 level or more on a daily basis. And you know what? You know, I'm not the authority on hygiene, but I am somewhat good with coding.
Yeah. That's
and I
that's what I
understand.
hear.
Yeah, I understand.
Word on the
pairing,
street.
right?
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring on Jen. Jen is one hygiene coach that we use.
Sweet.
And the best thing about Jen in terms of this discussion is that she's a hygienist, but she's also a coder. She's a biller for both
cool.
dental and medical.
Oh.
And so when you have that understanding, you could easily see the vision as a practice owner on how to get the hygiene department on a per hygienist basis to be profitable with today's wages,
Yeah.
but also with the right billing and coding protocols, which to me is a missed opportunity in 99.9% of the dental practices out there.
Ben, I would imagine that because I hear people talking or practice talking that hygiene isn't profitable, but it can, like you said, it can be.
Oh yeah.
And what I've seen, at least with our practices that implement a membership plan and a way to combat not only insurance issues, but wage inflation, is to increase your predictable recurring revenue. Because that could pay for your costs rather quickly. We have practices that I've seen soar from $500,000 a year in predictable recurring revenue from their membership plan to over $1 million.
Yeah.
You know, and I never thought that would happen when I started Boom Cloud. I had no expectations, which is always good, right?
Yeah.
You're always happy with low expectations, right?
That's right.
But let me to combat wage inflation and dental insurance, you scale your membership plan and make your hygiene department profitable, right? That's an aspect of it. In addition to the proper coding and just production. If your hygienists aren't producing, like you gotta look at those numbers and make sure they're producing more. They're bringing in more revenue than what it costs, right?
Oh,
Back
yeah.
to acquiring customers and, making sure that your revenue per patient is covered and not, break even. That's not a fun business to run. Trust me,
sure.
I've ran one of those before.
Yeah.
Stressful
business model. You
Yeah.
can't even have fun on vacation because you're so stressed about your numbers.
That's not fun.
Yeah.
So Ben, let's talk about our event we're doing with Mark Costes. We'll be posting some links in our show notes for the live event and then of course the recording. But Ben, why don't you talk a little bit about that? We had a fun meeting yesterday with Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna the webinar is gonna be on April 22nd, which is a Monday, and it's gonna be in the evening from Mountain Time perspective, from 4 p.m. Mountain Time to 6 p.m. Mountain Time. That's 6 p.m. Eastern to 8 p.m. Eastern, and then 3 p.m. Pacific to 5 p.m. Pacific. I think I missed Central, but I think you guys can
figure it out. Yeah, Google it.
Yeah, and so the topic that we've decided to cover, well, there's a few. So the main theme is increasing income without increasing production. So
Yes.
Dr. Costes, Mark Costes, is going to be hitting on that well, extensively in the sense of his professional. I mean, he used to own 10 practices, and he still, so he sold his 10 practices and now he runs a coaching business that still does 10 million plus a year, probably a lot more than that. It's a big business, as a non-clinical entity. It's quite impressive what he's been able to build. And then Jordan and I are sort of going to hit on, of course, there's tie-ins to the expert components of what Jordan is an expert at, which is membership plans. But the theme is combating the bureaucratic empire of dental insurance, exactly how Jordan introduced our episode for today. And and the idea is to teach dental practice owners how to take home more money without increasing treatments. Just looking at the existing patient base, the existing numbers that you have. And
that's a smart way to grow. Yeah.
Exactly. So even from like, and hopefully we'll have Jen on, our hygiene coder and hygienist, to sort of talk about, to kind of whet your appetite on a lot of the things that we're going to talk about during this webinar, in the sense of really capturing the low-hanging fruit that already exists, helping you identify the low-hanging fruit that you cannot see from an insurance perspective and a membership plan, and just a general business perspective as well. So you'll see those registration links. In fact, once we have that, we'll post it under the show notes for this episode. So just stay tuned on that, or you can email us we'll post our email addresses in the show notes so that you can get a hold of us if you want to follow up on the registration link for that. But yeah, check out Jordan's website, boomcloud.com, my website, veritasdentalresources.com. And I think I'm not sure if Mark's going to post it on his website, but what website does he use these days? Is it the
TrueDentalSuccess.com? Yeah.
TrueDentalSuccess.com to learn more about that event coming up on April 22nd.
April 22nd, baby.
Yeah.
All right. With that said, thank you so much for listening to the episode today. Both Ben and I are super pumped to be back recording episodes on the Navigating Dental Insurance podcast. With that said, we hope you guys have a rocking day.
Take care, everybody.